All right, so one of the first things I want to talk about is kind of the foundation of finance and how I look at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little, show you a little chart here, or how I like to put things together. And so the recorder here only allows me to do up to, I think, about a 3-minute video that I can post on WhatsApp. So I'm going to make this very short, but I'm just going to show you how I was introduced to the world of finance and how it should work and how the average household should look. So basically what we do is, what I do for people is I put it together like a three-legged stool. That being the seat of the stool, and that represents something that we call our financial independence number, the amount of money that we're going to need when we stop working at some point, whatever age that is at retirement, so that we don't have to worry about going to work anymore. What we find is about 91% of people retire financially still dependent either on the government or on family or on other people. And about 7 to 10% of people retire financially independent. Now, it looks kind of squiggly and goofy here, but I hope you'll understand what I'm trying to do here. I hope it comes through. And so that is the financial independence number is, so we got to figure out a target. Where do we got to go? How do we get there? And how can we retire with money so we don't have to worry about going back to work anymore? And so that's the first thing that we look at. So I'll do a very short series here. Our financial independence number, the amount of money we need to have set aside so we don't have to go back to work anymore. And so that's what I'm going to do on this video here. And it sits on 3 legs, so a 3-legged stool. So it kind of sits like that. And our household finance should look like this. The first leg is where we address what I call income protection. And and the industry calls it life insurance. That's not what it is. It's income protection. The amount of money that our income needs to replace, or in the event of death, the amount of money that needs to be replaced in the event of our death before we've accumulated wealth. No one should have life insurance forever. That's a permanent life insurance is a complete waste of money, in my opinion. And I can talk about that on other slides, why that is. I can also answer all those questions on how that works. So what I look at is, let's say a person is making $60,000 a year. And if a person were to pass away, they would still need to, the family would still need that $60,000. Then that person needs to have a $600,000 life insurance policy, or 10 times their income, 10 to 12. The industry standard, or the industry recommendation, is about 10 to 12 times your current income. The reason that we use that, let's say $600,000, if this person were to pass away with this income, they would need to replace that every single year. And so if we can then take this $600,000 insurance payout and invest it at a 10% rate of return, and yes, you can get that on average 9, 10, 12%, absolutely, then that can replace, all they do is withdraw 10% of their funds every year, and it grows on average of 10%. They should never run out of money. So then this 10% at this 60,000 replaces that $60,000 income. And I know it looks a little bit messy on the board. Hopefully the way I'm explaining it makes sense. The next one is called debt. We have to figure out a way to get out of debt. If people understood how much debt eats into your investable assets, no one would have debt. Things like car payments. No one would have credit card payments if people fully understood. I am fully convinced that if people understood the problems, the real problems with debt, no one would have it on a regular basis. Are there situations where people end up in it? Yes, I understand that. But what I'm trying to do is get people to understand what the debt burden really is on people. And so what I learned about money about 5 or 6 years ago now is that you can take a 25-year mortgage. I'm just going to draw that a different color here. A 25-year mortgage, and just by restructuring a regular mortgage, you can have it paid off between 7 and 9 years. Okay. And I've seen situations where they add other debt to that 25. They got a credit card, they've got a vehicle debt, they've got a line of credit, and it takes about 10 to 11 years to get out of debt, to have a house paid for, to be 100% completely debt free. So if you've got a family that has, say, I will talk about that on another slide, it's going to be too long. Last leg is the investment leg, the most important to get to your FIN number, right? Now, when I first learned about the FIN number, the financial independence number, my wife Tina and I, our financial independence number was about $1.3 million. That's what we need to accumulate by the time we're 65. And I said, oh boy, that is a lot of money. How are we in the world, are we ever going to get there? To me, that was a big number, and it is a lot of money. But if we look at these three legs, it's 100% doable. And now that I've finally learned some things about money over the course of the last 5-6 years, for the average 30-year-old today, not to retire with $1 million in investable assets or invested assets, it makes no sense to me anymore. It is doable for anybody that's willing to hold a job, anybody that's willing to do a little bit of business. It is 100% doable. If you're 30 years old, 35 years old, even 40 today, you can retire with over $1 million. You just have to know some things about money. You have to apply things. You have to know where your money is going. You got to do a budget, first of all. But it's doable. It's 100%. It's ridiculous that people can't retire with that. It is, the only reason is lack of education. It really is just a lack of education. And so I look at, when we started, we had a little bit of money saved up, and let's just use the number for $10,000. We had it in a bank growing at about 1% on average in a GIC. And at the end of that first year of investment, and we'll just use $10,000 as an example, we were supposed to pay $150 to renew it. So our 1% had gained us $100, but the charge to renew was $150. So it's like, how in the world is that? I'm losing $50. I was really frustrated. And then I learned that you can get 9%, you can get 10%. It does work. If you invest your money properly, you can get 10%. And so let's just say 10% average rate of return in a good investment. What I learned is that we had to put away about $450 a month, every single month, in order to retire with this $1.3 million. And I know the screen's all messy and it's chaos everywhere, but just listen to what I'm saying. The average family has that in payments anyway, or more, like twice that. And so if we figure out our debt situation and we get the most inexpensive income protection that we can get, very often we can free up some money there. And so we'll talk about all those different things, individual legs, in separate videos. But yeah, we'll leave it there for today, for right now.